Hey everyone, it's Will, Gamer Dad, with another video for you. So in today's video, we're going to go over AS Miu as a 5-star, and I'll do a little bit of gameplay and let you know what I think of her. But the most important question of all is
she hot or not?
I definitely love her long flowing hair, so yeah, why not? She's hot. Anyways, AS Miu is definitely a big improvement over the 5-star regular Miu. Anyways, with her Valor Chat at level 3, you get a status immunity of all party members for one time and restore all statuses. Don't overlook this defensive move because any VC that restores statuses can be very beneficial against some super bosses that apply a lot of debuffs. Now in terms of our 3 moves, we can go with her 4-star move, the Rune Blade. Still an int down 20, not bad, but certainly not the best one out there, being that we have int and dual debuffs in the 25 to 30% range. We also have Elemental Break, again a 4-star move from Miyu, slash AoE plus type resistance down 20%. So you can use that, although like I said, there's really not much to go with there. Now in terms of a 5-star AS moves, the Pride of Nicholas is the one that a lot of people use. Power plus 25 for all party members, type attack plus 50, crit rate plus 50. Note that it is 3 moves and not 3 turns. You'll have to redo it during the AF if your AF is longer. Also, buffs have double the effects on Miglin's Palace allies. So including herself, there are people like Felmina, Annabelle, Deidre, Radius, the list goes on and on. So very, very useful, help power her up, and it actually times really well with her lighter Espada. This one is a fire slash attack single target enemy 3 times XL. Increased strength according to the number of types of buffs on the user to a maximum of 8, and increased strength the lower the user's MP. So the lower the user's MP thing is very similar to AS Miu, and for those who have her, you'll note that she does a lot more damage as her MP goes down. In terms of the number of buffs, don't forget that Pride of Nicholas is essentially giving 3 buffs already, and you can get buffs from either equipment, Grasta, weapons, and so on and so forth. So it's not too difficult to get to 8, and keep in mind that even if you slave Grasta and that shares with AS Miu, you get the benefit of that to the maximum of 8. So I'll show you some examples a little bit later on in this video. Okay, so first of all, let's go to our board, and well, obviously I forgot to put the last 2 points, so let's just do that really quickly there. And if you do have 5-star regular Miyu, you get speed plus 10, which is not too consequential at this stage, being that no one uses 5-star Miyu. However, keep in mind that if you do have a 5-star Miyu, and I did grind her out a while ago, it does give power plus 10 to AS Miu. So that power plus 10 is still not bad for stats here. In terms of her setup, Grasta-wise, you can use any sort of Grasta. 3 times pain is pretty standard, and of course, you can enhance those with extra Grasta ore as well. So let's take her out for a spin. If you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel, I really appreciate it. I also do have a Patreon account for those who want to support me this way. So first off, I'd like to apologize for the late publishing of this particular video. Anyways, she is an older unit, but still very, very useful. So obviously against enemies weak to slash or fire, she's going to do a tremendous amount of damage, even without buffing herself. And note that she already has a number of buffs just from her equipment as well as gear. I would say that she's not fully enhanced, she only has 4 buffs you can see. And don't forget, I have not cast Pride of Nicholas. Also note that from the first battle to the second battle, she's already doing more damage than she did before, being that each subsequent battle we're draining down her MP just a little bit more, and so you can see the difference in that. Now if we boost with Pride of Nicholas, not only do you get those type attack, crit, and power up, you can see that the damage is quite a bit more. We're talking hundreds of thousands as opposed to just tens of thousands. And finally, let's take on the horror in this region. Obviously, these are only level 71, so not nearly a challenge. But that being said, we'll start off with Pride of Nicholas. And before the enemy can do a second attack, we did hundreds of thousands of damage and game over for it. Now in this next example, I know we're going to be fighting the bag baddie here. This isn't going to be too challenging since the bag baddie doesn't move at all, of course, just stands there and let us hit it over and over again. We're kind of setting up a little bit of a meme team, just to kind of show her pride of Miglins and obviously, try to enhance the rest of the team. So we have Annabelle, and don't forget Annabelle and AS Annabelle both Miglins units regardless of the form. Deidre, of course, is also Miglins, and finally we have Radius as our 5-star slash zone setter, who's also Miglins Palace. In terms of other units, we have Felmina and Bertrand, and of course 4-star Sora. That being said, slash zone only really benefits these 4 up front, and so not that we're doing anything super cool, we're just kind of showing the benefits of kind of putting all together. So we're going to power up a full AF here, try to get as much on the enemy in terms of debuffs, and then we'll do a lot of damage, or as much damage as we can. Now I will say that as I was experimenting with AS Miu, don't forget that not only is she a good DPS for fire, she is also a top tier support. Remember that crit damage or crit rate up as well as type up is really useful. However, remember that also because the Pride of Miglins only lasts for 3 moves as opposed to 3 turns, you have to watch carefully as those icons for the crit damage, crit rate up disappear, and you'll reapply Pride of Miglins during the AF. So watch out for that. And of course, we have the Miglins Castle or Miglins Palace AF finisher. Now, I will say that when I was playing around with this particular team, note that we're not doing hundreds of millions of damage, just a small amount of damage, and it's actually really unfortunate. I do hope that they come with either more powerful units in the future for Miglins Palace units, and so if they do more Miglins units, that will really enhance the use of AS Miu. But even so, on her own, she can really support a bunch of teams, not only the Miglins Palace ones, but certainly useful in slash teams as well as fire teams. Now, of course, what video would be good if we didn't show her in a 1-turn AF, aka Melissa as well as ES Melina? So obviously in this case, we're going to do a large 1-turn AF. We're going to use AS Miu as our fire DPS to take down the spirit, and then obviously Akatenshu is going to be taken down by his Mina. So again, same thing, we're just going to apply damage over and over again. We have Grass to Slays in the back to enhance both his Mina as well as AS Miu. We're using ES Melina to both power up your team with power and speed with Seraph Messiah, as well as Lunatic Vote, and then we of course have Melissa doing the thing she always does with his Flash Strike stance, Nephrite boost, and Glint Gale, which gives type attack for everybody plus 30 for 3 moves, I believe. Alright, nice and easy. And since like I said earlier in this video, you can grass to share to give Miyu those 8 buffs total. So just kind of play around with your team, your grass to setup, and your gear in order to get her to the at least 5 or 6 to start, and then if she casts Pride of Miglins, essentially she's going to be at the full 8. Alright, so of course, there's the loadout, and so forth. I know that AS Miu is definitely a unit that a lot of you use for your fire teams as well as for obviously your slash teams like I mentioned earlier. I'm not sure if being that she's been out for quite a number of months, you would think that some power creep has occurred where she's not as useful, and let me tell you, I don't believe that's the case. Just look at her in this role, like I said, not so much as a main DPS, but as a support for our enhanced Aldo. Don't forget that after Chapter 83 and after 84, when he gets that boost based on the amount of light on his team, he could do an extreme amount of damage. And although Miyu can still do millions of damage, her main role in this particular team is to support Aldo to do all of the damage and then just help win the game for us. So obviously she contributed 6 million right there, and of course the rest of it is done by Aldo. Note that Crest is still enhancing as well. So you try to find a lot of synergy on your teams when you are building a team to kind of see what can enhance your units. You can either have 1 or 2 DPS as well as support or zone setter. And I do find that just having the one main DPS and supporting that unit through lots of different moves really does do the trick. So in the case of this one, we have to, in the second wave of this fight, apply the 50% physical resistance down on Dilly, and then we just boosted Aldo again, and of course have him slash it all up. We have Distortion Blade, we have the end of turn boost from Slash Zone, and we have Hellfire Blade and all those other things to help boost Aldo. So Crest does boosting, Radius does boosting, and of course we have Miyu. So like I said, even with power creep, I think as a support, she doesn't lose that much value. I mean, if you don't have void weapons, the fact that she gives crit rate up plus 50, type attack plus 50, as well as power plus 25 is really great. I remember first struggling with this fight back in the day when we didn't have all these units, and of course other popular examples of using Miyu AS would be with Ewan, for example, where she helps enhance that fire team and he just slaps everyone into submission. Alright, and of course the star of the show, even though it's AS Miu's video, is really Aldo, and I will say it here and say it again, the devs did Aldo justice by upgrading him to this level of power. I find that he is just so dependable. He can be a frontline unit, and you know, that's what a hero and protagonist really should be. Okay, so in conclusion, Miyu AS, although a little bit older now because it took me some time to side grade her, is still a great frontline DPS, great support, and obviously looks really good while she's doing it too. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.